On this show, chums, I get a lot of requests. I know, but I'm still here, but you know what I mean? I get a lot of requests all about royal history. And I like that, when you read it in the comments, as you know, I'm fascinated by why do they do certain things? Why do they continue to do certain things? And then, of course, it's the perception, isn't it, of what people see, English history, British history, whatever, around the world. I think, in certain areas, people all think we stop at 4 p.m. every day and all sit round having afternoon tea. Well, you might, of course. Well, I could see that. Those cakes look lovely, yes. But you know what I mean? It'd be lovely if we all did. And I've told you the origins of afternoon tea. That was really started basically so that ladies could actually, meet and have a gossip, as it were, without the fear of, the intimidation of men, because it was genteel and afternoon tea. It progressed, as you can imagine. Well, this morning, in the midst of Storm Claudia and the horrendous rain, I was out with the Royal Artillery, the King's Troop, as it were, over in Green Park to celebrate His Majesty the King's 77th birthday. I know he doesn't like... No, I feel so. I'm not laughing, sir, you know that, right? But the thing is, it's an awful thing for royals because their birthdays are just flagged up, whereas celebrities, it's very vague, isn't it? Remember the actress Mae West, nobody knew really how old she was, but because she'd fudged the date so much. The same, I think, with Joan Crawford. They can do that, but as a royal, it's there imprinted, isn't it? I wanted to share with you today because a lot of people ask me, why do we do certain things like this? As ever, let me explain. Hi, good to see you. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you don't mind me talking to you about things like this. It's a nice sort of change, isn't it? A lovely change of pace. Now, I have to say, I felt so sorry for all the brave boys and girls out there today in their horrendous rain doing the 41 gun salute to celebrate the 77th birthday of His Majesty the King, King Charles III. I don't know if you know this, but when the Queen, was with us, whenever she had a gun salute and it was bad weather, she made sure from the royal kitchens that she sent down some of the favourite cakes and sweets and desserts and things for all, as she pointed out, the hard-working boys and girls who had literally stood there in the pouring rain to celebrate her birthday. Kind lady, you see, these are the things you don't know. It's just really sweet, isn't it? And you think, oh, right, so, so obviously, well, it was bad weather. Well, there's always a bonus, nice bit of cake about it at the end. Why do we have the 41 gun salute? Well, it's interesting, really, because as you know, this is the official birthday of, the real birthday of His Majesty the King. The official birthday takes place in June. And if you don't know this, the reason for this is simply it was decided many years ago, particularly for the ceremonial aspect of it, the pageantry, the dressing up, that sort of stuff, that if you held it on the real birthday of the monarch, well, you really were running the risk, particularly if you think about King Charles in November. And we were right, look at the weather, horrendous. So it was decided that they could be flexible about certain dates and troop in the colour, and that's really how it was born. Now, there is a story circulating, what I wanted to share with you, about whether Prince William would want to continue this tradition, because apparently in the sort of way to modernise the monarchy, he thinks it should simply just be the one birthday and the one birthday celebrated. Maybe still have troop in the colour. We hope, of course, still having troop in the colour, but, it wouldn't be his official birthday. I think when that comes to that point, he would just have to capitulate because it's what the public want. And as I said, this is just hearsay, but I share it with you because this is what you hear around about the palaces. So why do we have this 41 gun salute? Well, being the king, he has the highest gun salute. If you are certain members, you get less. It can go anything from 41 right down to 9, and this can happen in various parts of the world. For instance, the Prime Minister, right, they used to do this, believe it or not, in certain periods, you might get 19 guns. Now, what's fascinating, and this is what I often like to share this with you, this particular wonderful event is totally free, right? So forget the bad weather, but if you were down in Green Park today, what you get to see is these wonderful guns, the wonderful costumes for the Royal Artillery, the King's Troop. And this has been a, sort of look for many, many decades, many, years now. And what was interesting was the reason why they started the gun salute, I don't know if you know, but when those big ships came in the 17th century, 18th century, what they had to do to make sure that the port that they were docking in knew that they were a friendly boat, not a, an enemy. They had to get rid of all their gunfire, and then this is how that started off. So consequently, once the Navy had done that, somebody suggested in history, well, why wouldn't we do this day to celebrate the monarch's birthday? And so that particular tradition was started. Carries on still today, as I said. And as we know, His Majesty the King went over to the beautiful land that is Wales to spend time with them. Lovely area of the planet, let me tell you. Very friendly Welsh people and gorgeous Welsh cakes. We've mentioned these before, right? So if you were wondering exactly how all of that comes together, well, that's truly how it all comes together. More importantly, though, things like Trooping the Colour and, of course, the real birthday of His Majesty the King, they're all free. And you know what I like? Nothing better than free, is there? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.